This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connected to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
It's Monday, August 24, and this is the Barbados Today Afternoon Update. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news this hour, there will be no all-out assault on so-called blocks in the country. But Acting Police Commissioner Tyrone Griffith says the force will not permit those who perpetrate crime there to go unpunished. Speaking on the CBC television program, The People's Business, last evening, Commissioner Griffith says police have been working to eradicate criminal elements from the block, and they will continue to do so.
When I was a young man, I used to hang out on what I would call a block as well, playing dominoes and those things. So the idea of cleaning up the block, or rather cleaning up the evil on the blocks, is probably more the question. We systematically does that. We spend much time on the blocks. Our patrols are always on the blocks, trying to make sure that we take drugs, whatever, contraband or is on the blocks.
Labour Minister Dr. Esther Bayer makes it clear that the Barbados National Insurance Fund is not broke. She assured the persons attending the 60th annual conference of the Democratic Labour Party that overall the various funds being run by the National Insurance Scheme are in a healthy state, and she says there's little to worry about, adding that the fund currently holds a sizable surplus.
That one is in a very healthy state, and it continues to provide a lifeline to Barbados. At July of this year, the end of July, just a month ago, the fund had assets of over $5 billion. We're not broke. For the year to date, that fund has a surplus of $181.5 million Barbados dollars. And when we say surplus, we're talking about the excess of the contributions received as well as the money coming in from investments over and above the benefits that are paid out to people and administrative and other expenses. So when you take your monies coming in and subtract out your monies going out, whether they be benefits or other expenses, we're running a surplus of $181.5 million for the year to date so far.
A government official says restrictive rules governing food quality are impeding the country's food exports to the European Union. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Fisheries and Water Resource Management, Esworth Reid, expressed concerns as he addressed the opening of a two-day regional validation workshop on the fisheries compound of the EU-funded sanitary and phytosanitary measures project at the Accra Beach Resort this morning. Our Emmanuel Joseph is there and has more.
Permanent Secretary Reid was at pains to put on the record this country's concerns regarding the heavy sanitary and phytosanitary rules placed on food products that are sold to the EU. He lamented that these rules, which determine if a product was of a high quality, were seriously restricting this country's food exports, particularly fish products. The Permanent Secretary therefore told the participants from across the region he was relying on what they'll decide once the recommendations of consultants were presented this afternoon. The aim of the workshop, once the recommendations are validated, is to come up with a model legislation, protocols, guidelines, and institutional framework, environmental monitoring programs and mechanisms for coordination of issues at national and regional levels for sanitary and phytosanitary measures relevant to the fisheries sector. From the Accra Beach Resort Hotel in Christchurch, Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
Thanks, Emmanuel. The Ministry of International Business is hoping that Italy follows in Spain's footsteps and removes the island from its tax havens blacklist. The sentiment was expressed this morning following a signing of a double taxation agreement between Minister of International Business Donville Innes and Italy's ambassador to Barbados, Paolo Serpi. Innes says he remains optimistic that Italy will remove Bridgetown from its blacklist, stressing that the island's reputation and its international business sector needed to be protected from such a negativity.
Arising from the blacklisting recently by EU countries, we are very happy to note that Spain had already written and indicated that there was some error and we are being removed from their list. And we expect that today Italy will certainly commence a march in that direction as well. I say to fellow Barbadians that we've also held meetings with the EU Commissioner of Economy and Tax in Brussels, represented by our ambassador Sam China in Brussels, and those meetings were very fruitful, and therefore expect that Barbados will soon be removed from that list as we continue deliberations with the EU in particular. This, may I add, is very, very critical because our international business and financial services sector is a treaty-based one, and it's important that we develop as many treaties as possible. But we also maintain a good reputation for being a very clean jurisdiction, one that is very transparent, one that is based on substance, and therefore any marks that are negative against us will have a negative impact upon our sector. And this international business and financial services sector is really too critical for our economy.
The Italy ambassador described his country's decision as an unfortunate move.
Before the CARICOM summit, beginning of July, there was this unfortunate accident of blacklist that exposed Italy and a few European EU countries to a bad moment. It was a bad moment also for those countries of CARICOM which were on that list. It was an unfortunate mistake, and we have asked the Commission not to repeat that, and this is also our response to that accident.
In sports, Jamaican double sprint champion Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce retains her world title at the IAAF in Beijing. The sprinter clocked a time of 10.76 seconds today, emulating that of her male counterpart Usain Bolt, who again stamped his dominance in the men's 100s the previous night. Fraser-Pryce got off to an explosive start and was never seriously threatened by her Dutch and American competitors, who finished second and third respectively.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Got it in my hand, yeah. My Barbados, my bank. Got to understand, yeah. My Barbados, my bank. Ain't nothing like a core bank spare. None of them others just can't compare. You just got to love that taste. It's the world-class thing this land makes. Whether I'm cruising or at a bar, whether I'm at home, my bank spare is never far. For this blessing, got to give God thanks. My Barbados, my bank.
To our regional neighbors now, Dominica was today feeling the effects of Danny as it moves towards the west near 12 miles per hour. Rain and wind lashed Roseau and nearby islands along the eastern edge of the Caribbean. Reports from an Air Force Hurricane Hunter plane at 11 a.m. this morning indicated that Danny degenerated into a trough of low pressure some 45 miles west-southwest of Guadeloupe. However, forecasters still predict that Danny will drop 2 to 4 inches of rain over the Leeward Islands, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico through Tuesday. The 11 o'clock bulletin was the National Hurricane Center's last advisory on Danny. Meantime, Met officials turned their attention on another system some 1,250 miles east of the southern Lesser Antilles. According to forecasters, shower and thunderstorm activity associated with the low-pressure system continued to become better organized and defined. If the current trends continue, a tropical depression is likely to be formed later today or tonight while the system moves westward around 20 miles per hour. On the international scene, the Guatemalan president says he will not stand down over corruption allegations. In an address to the nation, the president dismissed claims that he had received money from a customs bribery, insisting that his conscience is clear. 8 members of his administration have resigned over the allegation. And that's news and sports. For more, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 101 on Lime TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Do have a good afternoon and join us again this evening.